There was once a man who was struggling with drinking and gambling. And so he set out at night to go to the local places where he could drink and gamble. And there was a holy man in that same town. And the holy man, he set out to save this other man. His method of saving him was to make him aware of the sins that he was accruing. So night after night, when the gambler would go out, when he would come back to his home, the holy man would stack a little pebble outside his house for every time that he went out and did whatever he did. And every time that the gambler would come back to his house, he would look and he would see the stones piling up. And he would think to himself, what an incredibly beautiful man who is dedicating his life to helping me. And I feel for him that his methods aren't working. And I definitely wish I could be better. Well, this process happened for day after day, year after year. Some 20 years went by, and it just so happened that these two died on the exact same day. Now, when they were presented with the beings in the afterworld, and they were going to discover where they might end up, the gambler was very surprised to hear the angel say to him, "You will be coming up to heaven." And the gambler said, How can I possibly come up to heaven? Like, that you must have us confused. Like, the holy man, he's going to heaven, not me. And the angel said, no, the holy man is going to the other place. And the gambler was just confused. He said, listen, I really think you got it wrong. And he said, how could I possibly have earned the merit to come here? And the angel said to him, every time you came back from having gambled and were drinking and all that, the first thing you would do is see these pebbles and you would think about someone other than yourself. You would think about that monk or that holy man. And then you would think holy thoughts and you would do your best day in, day out. You tried your hardest. And the gambler said, but what about this holy man? How could he possibly not be coming up to heaven too? He spent his whole life trying to save me. And the angel said, no, he spent his whole life trying to just point out how you're wrong. He did nothing to atone for his own karma and his own history. All he wanted to do was point out your sins, not work on his own. You see, the legend in this story helps shine light for all of us on the very real difference between those who dedicate their lives to trying to be better, earnestly, genuinely trying to be better, and those who pinpoint every false move they make, every mistake they make. There are people who absolutely define themselves by being able to pick apart others. There are people who define themselves by being able to point out the sins of others. And then there are those, maybe some might argue the rest of us, who are trying to get through this life in the best way that we can. So be mindful to, first and foremost, always do your best to get through this life in the best way that you can. But also, if just in case it ever strikes you to start accruing the sins of others and picking apart what other people are doing, be mindful to remember this story, because it might just do well in helping all of us pursue becoming the best versions of ourselves. Until next time, as always, I wish you much peace.